Alright, so I'm back in Portland. Today was all over the suburbs, taking care of some business and running some errands, getting ready to go have some fun, float the river tomorrow. But been exploring the whole face diaper muzzle situation. And since entering Oregon, I haven't worn one once. And it's been one of the strictest, most bad attitude places when it comes to that for about the last year and a half. And I have a lot of context. See, I spent time in Washington and Idaho, and so today I had a really fun confrontation with somebody at Traitor Joe's, so to speak. And they're trying to keep this policy in place regardless of any changes in government or people's status. So I go in there prepared. I knew what I was gonna say. I was calm. But anyway, let's back up. A little bit of a preview on this whole endeavor. So day one of this whole thing was back before anybody heard of it. And I saw it coming in the news. And I saw the funny, weird, conflicting information. And so I saw that there was going to be about a week before everything was enforced. And so before that, I put on an N95 and a pair of rubber gloves at my job. And I was currently working at like a parking garage because it was an opportunity to sit on my laptop and edit videos for hours while making a little bit of money extra for doing that. So I was kind of stacking it, right? And then I ended up getting a great unemployment situation because of that, but I only took it for about 2 months. Because what I did is I put those on, the N95 and the gloves, for about a week before anybody had heard of anything. And it was hilarious because everyone's kind of looking at me like, I might have heard just a thing or two, but I wasn't taking it seriously. What's going on here? But they wouldn't say anything. And then as soon as the news dropped big and everybody freaked out, I stopped. So then it was completely opposite. They're all freaking out, driving around like maniacs, parking garage. And worrying for, the end of the world. And I'm sitting there like, what's up? So I've been into the psychology of this whole thing since day one and been having a lot of fun with it and really growing and expanding my knowledge and skills and personality. Definitely, it's had a positive impact on my ability to interact with people because I'm a pretty non-compliant person. Anyway, so after that, I hung out, doubled down on my gardening, took a nice little break, did some physical therapy, got feeling a little better, and I spent a bunch of time reading. And I spent about a month and a half, and in that amount of time I was able to grasp just exactly what was going on, this whole thing, in terms of chemistry and electricity as it relates to the meat suit, right? Anyway, once I figured that out, I was like, oh, okay, well, I get it. It's all a head game now. Well, fortunately, before all this stuff got going, I graduated from university trying to finish up my degree in propaganda and psychology. This whole thing cracking loose was cool because it was like all the weird stuff I'd read that, preppers had been talking about for a long time, and rednecks, and, who else? Just anybody who was freaking out about the year 2020. But anyway, that was cool. I was like, all right, head games is where it's at. But I knew I wasn't really fully up to par. I knew I had a lot of stuff I needed to get figured out. So what I did is I started doing electrical work again with my dad because I wanted to make sure to spend as much time away from here as possible. I didn't want to really be here for 100% of the time that all these people were going to be having to go through their existential crisis, right? I didn't want to be there for that. So, went over, spent some time in Eastern Washington, hanging around Idaho with old friends and whatnot. Me and my dad researched and figured out early on that when it came to all of these institutional requests, we actually didn't need to worry about any of that, because at least as it related to us, we had exemptions. You know, I'll leave that for you to figure out, but you can figure it out. And so we used those and we practiced, and for a while I wore one because I knew he wasn't going to, right? He's an old man and he's like, no. So I wore one so that I could use that to make dang sure I wasn't personally doing anything wrong when I cut them off from harassing him and stood there and argued with them and had it out about what the law was while he finished his business, right? So that's how I got my practice, was basically defending him and just kind of hearing the arguments, really listening to them, digesting them, trying to figure out if that actually made sense or if people actually knew what they were talking about. And as I practiced, I realized people didn't, that this was totally a poker game. And that this was totally about who lost confidence, who became intimidated, and who folded and gave up first, right? So I crafted a style, and I've been doing that. And, you know, something interesting about it is sometimes I've complied just with no BS, because I learned early on that there's a whole lot of factors to being up to playing that poker game, right? It's like, how much time do I have to waste on this right now because I just need to get to work? Or, you know, how much energy do I have for this? Am I feeling low? Am I feeling like out of my head space and not very confident and very me, or comfortable in my own skin, or just whatever it is, you know, psychological chatter. So I had to be a little selective about the days I chose to really go for that. Depended greatly on how I felt physically, and, you know, if I was tired or not. And yeah, it's a practice. That's my point. That's all I can really say, is it's a practice. You read some, you try some stuff, you win some, you lose some, and in the process, you learn the things that you need to know in order to stand up for yourself, and in order to make sure that going forward, our institutions can't pull the wool over our eyes, because we all finally understand that they work for us, and that when you're the boss, if you don't maintain oversight, the employees run amok. All right? So that's what this is. Everybody is getting a golden opportunity to learn and to practice and to grow and become a better human being. That's all it is. That's all this is. Oh yeah, I have to finish the story. Keeping this short. There is a dude out front, you know, and he's, you know, making big gestures and, you know, doing all that stuff to people, and I see him turn people away, and they go back to their cars, and they come back in a few minutes later, or they just leave, or whatever. I sat in my car and I just kind of had me a cigarette, finished my coffee, listened to some music, thought about it, really just tried to see everything from every angle. I tried to, in my mind's eye, see the inside of the store, all the other people, the whole situation. Just let it play out. All potential things that could be said to me, all potential things I could say. How am I feeling today? Well, I'm feeling like I really ain't worried about anything at all. It's beautiful. The sun is shining. I know that the law's on my side. And I know that I don't even care if somebody calls the freaking law dogs on me. Because I'm not going to do anything that's going to cause any problem whatsoever. And so I'll be just fine. I'll keep the high ground and make my enemy come to me. And that's what I did, It was all about being in that state of mind. I just went in and I said, I'm exempt. And I just kept about my business and I shopped. And then, he ran off and got mama management, and I just went about my business, Nice deep breaths. Smells good. I can smell the different food, and I'm just living a normal life. Nothing weird going on here that I can see. And anyway, I'm through some of the aisles, and mama manager shows up. She's holding one, a little string over her fingers. And I could tell immediately, like, she was not the most confident person. But, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad or be a jerk. That's not my intention. So I just shut it down, I say, you can't do that, and this is why. And, I haven't broken any laws, but you're breaking the law. And then what would happen is it really wasn't about citing anything specific to her, right? I'm not trying to give anybody, including them, legal advice. Like, no, you guys can look it up, figure it out, get your argument straight. But until then, I'm gonna continue on as I see fit here. And so anyway, like I said, it's all about the body language, and it's all about that poker game of seeing who's gonna fold first. So what I do is I speak with my whole presence. I face up, I make solid, genuine eye contact, and I don't look away, and I keep it going. And then when I've had my say, then I turn around with my whole body, and then I start doing my shopping. And when they start speaking back to me, I listen with my ears very intently, and I chew on what they say. But with my whole presence, my whole projection, I am completely engrossed in getting my shopping done. I'm not acting weird at all. I'm just being completely normal. Like, we're done here. You're gone now. I know you're not talking to me if I hear your voice again, because we already settled what we're here to settle. So whatever. And so I'm just doing my thing, and they talk, and I'm actually listening. And then I take my time formulating responses. And I don't feel nervous about that. I feel that people got to respect your time and the taking of it. But also it can make them sweat a little bit. So, I just do my thing. And then I turn very resolutely and face again. And I make eye contact, and I don't break it. And I feed them a line that is based on programmable logic, right? It's binary logic, it's coding, it's how you program automated systems of any kind. And it also happens to be the same kind of logic that's used in sentences. True, false, factor stuff. So when you can think about it correctly for what it is, it's like these people have pathways in their mind, their synapses, their understanding. And those pathways have been programmed by the people on high, the top of the pyramid, who are shitting down it on the rest of us. And so they get that program and they institute it. They're what we call a PLC, a programmable logic controller. It's like the little thing that controls your thermostat in your house, controls an automated watering system, cool switching for LED lights, and, you know, home entertainment systems, and, you know, just automated house stuff. I get to do some of that. So once you know what their program is, because you've heard it enough times and you've studied it for yourself, and you also, you know, can think about it that way, then you can formulate sentences that use all the necessary truth, and weave them in such a way that what it really does is it breaks the path of programmed logic that they have to stand on, because they actually are just a regular person who doesn't really understand the law, and, you know, we trust everybody to tell us how this works, and so we look it up on, you know, the health authority website, and they have these fancy PDFs with like the nice gov letterhead that tells us what the law is. And no, if you actually go and dig into the statutes, it ain't there. It's all PDFs and bullshit. So anyway, this interaction continued, and I basically just did this over and over again. The idea is that, like, you're sort of taking off someone's spacesuit and kicking them out the airlock, in a way. Like, they're like, oh man, I don't know, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Right? It's a short circuit. You know, they kind of, the goal isn't really to convince anybody of anything other than your own confidence and that your authority supersedes theirs, and, you know, to make sure that they understand what exactly, you know, the position you're taking by the book is, you know, but you don't have to get too verbose, because ultimately it's about that poker game, and it's about trying to make them feel like a naked crustacean going, I'm not anywhere familiar here, and I need a new shell, while you seem just completely unfazed by the whole thing. Like, have a nice day, you know, whatever, cool. Just gotta take the high ground, be on the right side of things, and be a kind person. And it seems to work out just fine. Now, obviously, different types of looks help, and numbers help, and, you know, a lot of people's confidence maybe isn't up to that. I understand. Mine wasn't either, actually. And so that's why I really see it as a practice. It's something we all have to go through. We all need to rise to the challenge, and we need to work on our nerves and grow nerves of steel and expand our minds and learn just exactly how much potential they contain and how we can really use them, really use them effectively and efficiently, and take back the oversight, and we'll be just fine. I'm really not worried about anything that's going on, because from what I see, as much as it might not look like it sometimes, the people really are rising up and taking the oversight. We just need to double down. We need to go harder. And we're in a situation right now where we have a golden opportunity, right? Because there's ebbs and flows in the intensity of this stuff, and it's all a psychological game. And so those ebbs and flows are part of it. Similar to, like, maybe stock market stuff or seasonal stuff. It's like part of what we're supposed to be learning here is how to read the signs of what's going on around us and how to adjust accordingly, and, you know, be on the right side of things. So, yeah, a lot of things aren't going the way anybody expected, but that's awesome. That means we're experiencing something entirely new, and that is beautiful. That is very important. It's the best thing that could happen. You know, a situation where people's predictions based on all past understanding, living under seriously oppressive circumstances, the situation where those intuitions, like, aren't really the right way to look at it, like, heck yeah, we're forging a new path here. And it's awesome. Awesome. So, you know, to wrap up the story of the traders, once she had had enough of dealing with me, once she was made thoroughly uncomfortable by having to be in a confrontation with a highly intelligent individual, or at least someone she thought was a highly intelligent individual, she backed off. And because there are other people around, of course, she's like, okay, well, we're gonna let it slide this time, and can you just please hurry and get it done? And I just got about my business, and I just said, thank you. Like, didn't even hear that. Gonna pretend I didn't hear that, because that would be bad. You shouldn't be saying that. And so then she leaves. She didn't bother me again, except once where she, like, showed up and stood, and I just took my sweet time, man. I took my sweet time getting done in that place. I went back and forth the whole store a couple of times. I always do that. It's nothing new. It's just I wasn't going to be intimidated or fazed or actually have that extra nerve juice that makes me actually comply with what she was asking for and hurrying up and getting done. No, I made sure to remember everything I needed, make sure to get it, think twice, get some stuff. This other lady walks by. She's like, well, she was a lot more polite than I would have been. And I said, well, maybe you could learn a thing or two from her. She turns around and she goes, well, I think a business should be able to, and I had heard enough. You know, usually I let people finish, but I had heard enough. And my retort came to me, so I just piped up and I said, it doesn't matter what you think. This is about the law, and you can learn the law if you want. And then I got back to my business. And so, yeah, I do like to be a dramatic. I do like to make a show of things, and yeah, but not by being, like, crazy and rude and mean and gnarly. Like, you want to do everything you can to just be the boss of the situation if you're gonna try to go up against people who you know are violating the law, your rights, you know? So, yeah, that's my 2 cents. You know, I don't give the legal beagle advice. I just seek it every chance I get. And then I make my decisions, and I build myself up to the confrontations that have to be made, and I mentally prepare myself for whatever the outcome may be, even if it's highly uncomfortable for me. I'll deal with it. I'll figure it out. And yeah, there's definitely an element of bluffing to my game, but not really. I make sure to know, you know, I make sure to at least, like, have the phone numbers I need, you know, and be able to try to get the stuff figured out in the aftermath as best I can. But so far, just rolling with the confidence and the knowledge combined has been awesome. It's made me a better person, and it's made me friends, and life is good. Getting along just fine. You know, there's 2 parallel realities. We're living in 2 parallel realities that have existed for a long time already. People just were seriously not aware of us before. But we're here. We've been here. We've been here through all of the insanity, all the fucking wars, all the stupid shit. We've been here. We've been working hard, doing our best, and now it's time for us to step up and get it on, you know, get it going. Food for thought. Sorry there's no pretty pictures in this video. It's all talk.